Ability is nothing without opportunity. Napoleon Bonaparte. What the French military commander and emperor said in the 19th century rings true even today in India's politics and society, where all marginalized communities seek reservations to overcome the errors of history. The first round of reservations has its genesis in the Constitution itself, which in 1951 gave scheduled castes and scheduled tribes a 22.5% quota. OBCs were added later in stages. In 1990 for jobs, after VP Singh implemented the Mandal Commission report, and in 2006 for higher education by HRD Minister Arjun Singh during UPA 1's rule, taking the total reservations to 49.5%. With half the seats already reserved for the marginalized, a 9-judge bench in the famous Indira Sani case of 1992 put a stop to further increases.
Reservation should not exceed 50% except in extraordinary situations.
However, to avail benefits, even those not historically marginalized, like the Marathas, Jats, Patidars and Gujjars, kept clamoring for reservations. Being landowners, they did not put much emphasis on education, so lost out when the world changed into a job-driven economy. However, they were politically strong, so every party kept trying to pamper them with quotas. But the Supreme Court held strong to its 50% ceiling. Even as late as May 2021, it struck down a politically supported move.
Marathas are not so socially and educationally backward that they require quotas.
So it came as quite a surprise that just a year and a half later, they allowed the 50% ceiling to be breached by permitting an additional 10% quota for the economically weaker sections, EWS, in jobs and education. A proposal brought in by the Modi government exclusively for the poor among upper castes. The poor in SC, ST, OBC communities were not included. They convinced the Supreme Court that these were indeed extraordinary situations and that the situation had changed after the creation of 2.1 lakh additional seats in central educational institutions.
So the total number of general category seats would remain the same despite additional reservation.
And that 12 states and union territories had already begun the process of implementing the EWS quota even before the judgment. So how will the new EWS reservation affect the general category? We will address this after showcasing our sponsor, who incidentally also has a relevant product to help you. Many of us are able to read and write in English or have learned English in school, but we were not taught how to be conversant. Becoming fluent in English is all about practice. And one of the best ways to become a confident speaker is by conversing with native speakers. Cambly is one such platform where you can do that. You might have seen me talk about Cambly's one-to-one classes earlier, where you can practice English with native speaking tutors from the UK, USA and Australia. But now, Cambly has launched group classes of up to 3 students to make this more affordable. Your classmates can be from anywhere, Brazil, Japan or Korea, who are on a similar journey of becoming a fluent speaker in a personalized, friendly and non-judgmental environment. So get over your fear of speaking English and make the most of the New Year launch offer with discounts of up to 45% for long-term plans. Link in the description. Breaching the 50% ceiling has opened a Pandora's box. Various states are now planning to increase reservations for politically important castes, emulating Tamil Nadu, who decades ago managed to get a whopping 69% reservation via backdoor entry. After ceding ground in the 1980 national elections, Chief Minister M.G. Ramachandran hiked reservations for his backward caste vote bank for the upcoming state elections. His successor, Jayalalitha, to get past the 50% ceiling, convinced Prime Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1994.
Please include this bill in the 9th schedule.
A magical place within the constitution which makes it immune from judicial scrutiny. Now other state chief ministers will dance on this chance of using the 9th schedule to increase quotas far above the 50% ceiling. Chhattisgarh's Bhupesh Baghel plans to play with fire by taking quotas to a huge 76%. Jharkhand's Hemant Soren is also increasing reservations in government jobs to 77% as a counter to the maze of corruption allegations against him. Basavaraj Bommai's Karnataka is expected to reallocate part of the EWS quota to placate the powerful Vokkaliga and Lingayat communities before the 2023 assembly elections. These three states may put the centre in a dilemma. If it accepts demands to breach 60%, it will put a squeeze on open category seats. If it refuses, BJP risks electoral setbacks by upsetting various social groups. So was the BJP short-sighted, focused only on winning the 2019 Lok Sabha elections, when it amended the constitution in January of 2019 to allow quotas for the economically weak, whereas earlier it was reserved only for the socially backward? Even DMK's Stalin seems to think so and has filed a review petition against the EWS quota decision.
Reservation should only be based on social criteria, not economic criteria.
The opposing council also thought it to be
A fraud on the constitution, like stabbing its heart.
However, 3 of the 5 judges agreed with the EWS criteria entirely.
Reservation on economic basis does not violate the basic structure of the Constitution.
While the other 2 judges agreed with the majority view in principle, they passed a separate verdict on the need to add backward classes among EWS.
Leaving the poor SC, ST, OBC out of the law is a violation of the principle of equality.
The creamy layer of OBCs, that is those having a family income of more than 8 lakhs, are anyways not allowed to get reservations. So the centre seems to have taken the same income number to classify the economically weak. Despite
90% of the middle class among upper castes have a household income of less than 8 lakhs per annum.
Could the marker instead have been taxable income, what the Sino committee report also recommended, which is 3 lakhs right now with standard deduction? The government shrugged off the IT income limit marker.
That is for every individual, but 8 lakhs is a combined income of the full family.
But then why not BPL, below poverty line income, that is below 2 lakhs per family? Upper castes make up 18% of this number and are likely to be the most in need. Inspiringly, 71% of students who aced NEET via the EWS quota in 2020 were from families with an annual income of less than 2 lakhs, while 20% were between 2 and 5 lakh, meaning that the EWS cutoff at 8 lakhs is too high, and few at the bottom income level will reap its benefits. Even the 25% EWS quota for nursery admissions in schools was kept at an income limit of just 1 lakh. Where scams took place, like the one shown in the movie Hindi medium, the rich pretended to be poor to get their child a seat in private schools under the EWS quota. Still, the shifting of reservations to economic criteria could be the silver lining from this judgment. All the judges during the current ruling agreed that reservations need to be re-examined and cannot go on forever. The EWS criteria would remove a major drawback of reservations because future generations of SC/ST would no longer be able to milk the system. Because after getting a job through reservation, the economic situation of a family in most cases would change to rise above the EWS criteria. Still, instead of reservation, an alternative for BPL kids could have been a national scholarship scheme to quickly pull them up. But with the central government decreasing its hiring in the past few years by 1/3, the significance of quotas is getting reduced. This begs the question whether it is just a lollipop for vote banks. But hats off and a grand salute to the signees who are protesting against the 4% quota that the government is giving them in Jammu and Kashmir.
It lowers the morale of our youth, who are competent to compete with other upper castes.
We started this story with a saying, let's end it with one.
Ability is nothing without opportunity.
A rising tide lifts all boats. A growing economy will benefit everyone, and that should be and is the government's aim. Bisbo's limerick. The errors of history for sure are to blame, but more and more it's a political game. A little for Ram, a little for Sham makes pressure groups happy, the rest are fair game. You will also find these sources listed in our video description section.